Everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Phil John's VIP. Thank you so much. I am your host tonight, Phil John. Thank you for coming every time I tap on the live button to IG Live. You always come and kind of bless me, and I'm hoping that I'm blessing you with all the talk and love and introducing you to people that maybe maybe you haven't really been familiar with, and introducing you to a connection that I have with people who you probably do know. So I'm excited about that because every time I come on, it's giving me a chance to connect with you, the general public, my colleagues, my peers, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to do it. I hope everyone had a great Easter. I know that I have had a wonderful Easter, and we're almost halfway through, with the seasons of Phil John's VIP. I'm so happy. Thank you, Paul, for joining me. You're always popping in. I don't know, man. Like, my eyes starting to water because I know it's that time of the year. I always say I love spring. Spring doesn't necessarily love me back, but I do love spring. Of course, with all the pollen in the air and everything that's happening, it just gets kind of crazy. Tonight, I have a guest coming on who's a personal friend of mine. He has been in the business for a long time, but he's being kind of guided to move into a different direction. God has blessed him with the gift of motivational speaking. He's an actor, producer, writer. He's had several projects that he's been working on. He's been working on that have been done. He shot his first television pilot called Caper, and I was gracious enough and happy enough to work as a casting director on that project. He's a person who's been very diligent and consistent in, what'd you say, Paul? Try be pro. Yeah, man, I am. I have to find something because like the allergies, man, it's crazy, especially this time of year. But my guest is he's multi-talented in a way where, he's had many different gifts, but he's also a public speaker. And if you've ever watched his videos, you get a lot out of it. He's a person who leads with his heart. He is a man who truly loves God, his family. And I am proud to call him my brother because we have saw each other through some very, very, very dark times. And I'm just so happy that he finally has some time for me tonight to come on and just for us to chat it up and just kind of you guys can get a chance to know our banter and what that looks like and how it feels like, because very rarely in this business do you find people who support you 100%, vice versa, where it works both ways. And he is more than just a friend to me. He is family. And I thank him for his love, and his wife is just beautiful, and his kids are just great, and the energy that they give blesses me all the time. So I want you to feel his energy. I want you to feel his spirit. And hopefully if you have questions, please hit me up in the inbox there. And hey, thank you for joining. Thank you for meeting me at the table every time I log on to do Phil John's VIP. Again, I started this because I'm really have a passion to uplift my colleagues and peers. And if I can introduce you to anybody, please follow them and allow them into your space, allow them into your consciousness, and please support. I'm bringing on my brother, Mr. Felix Dones. Here he comes. Hopefully he'll behave, because when we get together, we may not always behave. All right, I'm bringing you in. Yo, yo. James, man, thanks for the love, bro. Where you at? Please, make sure you got light.
What's good, brother?
Why you in the dark? Ah!
Am
No,
I?
I see you now. I see
Am
you
I?
now. The light looks good. Everything looks good, brother.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? All right. Man, listen, I thought you were introducing Barack
Barack,
Obama. I said, who's this dude he talking about? This guy's
you tripping
amazing.
now.
Like, who's
You
this
tripping.
guy? Yes, you made me
You
sound
tripping
real
now.
good, man. You made me sound real
Listen,
good.
thank you for making the time to join me on my Phil John's VIP.
No doubt.
Again, I tell people, Paul from the Gentleman's Corner shouting us out. Paul, thank you once again, brother. I appreciate you and everybody over at the Gentleman's Corner. Huh?
That's another deep brother right there.
He
Paul,
is. But have you
deep
ever
brother
seen
right
his
there.
like thoughts of the day, like
Yeah.
Paul thoughts of the day? If you haven't,
Yes.
definitely check it out because I thought I was cerebral. This brother is so cerebral when he gives us stuff. So thank you for joining me, brother. So, like I said, like I've known this brother for a very, very long time, and you've always actually have come whenever you lead, you always lead with a lot of passion and a lot of heart. So I remember back in the day of the MySpace days, and you did a film called First. Forgive me if I get this wrong, but you did a film called First District, Second District, and I think that's where I saw your work for the very first time. But I've always seen you. Haven't gotten to know you more up close and personal. There's so many things that I feel like when you really put your hands on it, it just kind of really just develops and excels, and you have just a creative spirit within yourself. So for me, well, although I know, but since this is for the general public who may not know, I want to know exactly where did it all start for you as far as being creative and feeling like that would be a part of your journey.
Well, funny, I was not to get too deep, but I was something in the background's bothering me. I know we lied, but this is driving me crazy. Get it out of here. Okay. So I grew up kind of a lonely child. I had both parents in the crib, but my father was a heroin addict. My mother was an alcoholic. So I didn't really have that family quality time type of vibe in the house. It wasn't like eating at the kitchen table. There was a lot of me being alone for numerous amount of hours. So I had to find ways to be creative. So I would play with my G.I. Joes, my Transformers, Star Wars, and all that stuff. And there was a game room down the street where I lived at. I was living in 142nd Street, Willis Avenue in the Bronx at the time, right across the street from the projects. I think it was Melrose. So there was a game room there. And I guess one day I was singing there. I don't know how.
A game room?
But the owner of the game room, this lady,
for
a game
all the
room. Remember
millennials
video
and Gen
games?
Zers, can you please explain exactly what a game room is?
Yeah, most definitely. So a game room is, is a room with a whole bunch of arcade video games.
Right.
Not the type you're sitting down now. Actual video games, Pac-Man, Space Invaders, things like that. So I was in, I guess you heard me singing, humming to myself. And she asked me, she said, would you like to sing in a competition? Listen, I'm probably, I want to say maybe 5, 6 years old. I'm saying 5, 6, 7 most. Like I'm young. And I said, whatever. Next thing you know, I'm in Harlem auditioning for some talent show. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I just know I'm singing in front of a couple of judges, like 2 or 3 judges. And kind of from there, I kind of got the bug. I kind of liked the feeling of being in front of people doing something. And I never looked back.
So you were 18, 19? Oh,
no,
6, 7 years old.
I was like 6, 7 years old. Yeah, 6, 7 years. I was a little kid. Like I didn't know what was going on. I think that's a good thing.
So did you ever do,
because I didn't know what was
like
going on.
school plays and work in like maybe community theater?
Listen, I was terrible in school. I did not stay my butt in school. I hated school since I was young. Dropped out in 9th grade, didn't even complete it. Just school. I just couldn't do school. I used to be bored. I used to be in a bad classroom, row the back kids, but I had mainstream. I had the top English class, though. Go figure that. I was in the top English class in the school, but in the bad behavior classes. That was my main homeroom was with the bad kids. But when it's time to study, I was in English, history. I always liked reading. My father instilled that in me at an early age. So, yeah, but
you know what
no school plays or nothing.
Interesting about you is that I know that like you may not, whatever you don't know, you always endeavor to find out, right? So I feel like, and I've talked about this with multiple people before, is that I always approach things as a student. I always approach life as a student, especially things that are part of any kind of entertainment industry related stuff as a student. Has that always been your approach?
Yes. Because my father, although, you know, someone who did drugs, he was present in a lot of ways. He was well studied, my father. So when I was young, I couldn't go outside to play before I had to master 10 words from the dictionary and spell them correctly. And it was like a level of excellence that he put on me early on that I knew I had to do the extra. So that's always been in me. Like I've always liked learning, especially history, not too much science, but I always loved history. I always loved what man used to do and how I always looked at man from a deep perspective, like why so many errors, why so much pride, why so much hunger, why so much thirst. And I always loved history. So it was installed in me early to like.
So you hold up before we go, I got a shout out. For me, it's a legend just walked into the room, a Bronx legend, Miss Cleo Silvers, who was a member of the Young Lords Party. And if any of you remember the Young Lords Party,
wow.
They infiltrated Harlem Hospital in the 1970s for healthcare for Black and Puerto Ricans who lived in that area. So Miss Cleo Silvers, I just want to take an opportunity to say thank you and honor you and acknowledge you in the room tonight. So back to you and your, like, you know, because I see one thing people know, like, okay, yeah, you were bad in school. Yeah, you were smart. Your father let you read books, but you had that creative gene. So that creative gene is like, it's crazy because keep in mind, that also kind of paved way for you to move into music. It kind of opened the door for you to go into music.
Yeah, so coming up in the b-boy era, you know, people call it breakdancing. It's not really breakdancing, it's b-boying, you know. But coming up in that era, there was always, you know, people out there dancing on the cardboard boxes. There was always music. Slick Rick, Dana Dane, Dougie Fresh, KRS-One, Public Enemy. The vibe in New York was different back then. Everywhere you look, people were creating, whether they were dancing, doing graffiti, DJing.
That was New York in the 80s.
It's been in me since young, you know, growing up in New York. Yeah, that was New York, playing Scalesy, playing handball.
And let me just say this, you
had to make something
a lot of people don't
nothing.
know that breakdancing is actually going to be an Olympic sport in the 2024 Olympics. And, you know, it amazes me how we have something that has gone global that started out in our communities that, you know, from a lack of resources that we've created, you know. And I think that hip hop and the hip hop culture has all been kind of mass marketed. Yeah.
That's a whole different, that's a deep subject. Yeah,
when you just mentioned B-boy, it kind of brought me back to that.
Yes. So I always, you know, always given dabby that. I danced a little bit. But I also, when I was young, I had a bad lisp. And they used to call me Spit. Remember Spit from the movie? They used to call me Spit. And I used to spit. I used to go around battling young kids rapping. And my mother would always come up to Connecticut. And when I came up to Connecticut, it was like living in I don't know, like in the 60s because they were so far behind. So I'll come up here and start spitting and killing everybody. They didn't have the fashion we got in New York and all that. So that also put the battery in my back to where I was always working on something creatively, especially writing. I've always written music. I've always written music. So
when you say you've written
I don't know
music,
why
do you
nobody
write
in my
lyrics
family,
or do you also write music?
So, well, not new. I know not music to like where pianists play. No, not that type of music, but lyrics. Like I wrote my first complete song. I think I was like 11 years old. 6th grade, I was like 11 years old, wrote my first complete song. I was doing freestyle at that time. And you know, freestyle music, George Lamont, Judy Torres, Cynthia, Shaka Khan, that dance, you know, that freestyle. So that's when I first started really picking up the pen and putting 2 verses, a hook, a bridge, and
we're talking about, when you around time, we're talking like early 90s. So what was some of So late 80s, right? Like between 85 and 89. Yeah. So what was some of your influences?
Yeah, probably musically? Around there, correct. George Lamond, who wrote Without You, Dana Dane, Slick Rick, Lisa. I mean, I was in love I don't know if she was an influence. I was in love. It was something. I mean, wonder if I take you home. I was a young boy, like take me, you know. So Lisa, things like that. There was a lot of dope music. Taylor Dane was dope. George Michael was big on my life. George Michael, Careless Whispers, Teacher. I loved George Michael growing up. I always had a diverse ear. I always liked a lot of different type of music. I could play Billy Joel one day, Hector Lavoe, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, La Lupe, you know. So there was always a lot of music in my house. That's one thing.
That you're, you know, and I'll put this out there. Your son is actually has that air because he makes beats that are crazy. Some of the stuff that I did, I think maybe 2 seasons ago with Phil John's V.I.P, a lot of those beats that you guys would hear would be his son Sage blessing me with some beats.
Yeah, he came out with a good ear. Thank God I ain't forced it on him. But he did grow up listening to good music. There was always Wu-Tang playing in the house. My favorite MC Nas was always playing in the house. So he knew what was good. He knew what was up. Like I never liked commercial rap. I'm not to say that it doesn't have its place, but that just wasn't me. I always like more underground, more Nas, more Daz Effects. You know, that hard stuff. So people who can write right.
What do you think? What would you say hip hop has come to today? What's the difference between the how it evolved from the late 70s into the 90s into the 2000s really to where it has become today? What is it? What is it? Has it's gained and what is it missing, in your opinion?
Well, I would say the first thing it gained is financial stability, right? Back in the days, them dudes wasn't making no money. So that's why when I listen to music now, I have to listen a little bit differently and understand that there's a lot of money behind it now. And there's a certain way you need to sound to make that money. Like one of my favorite recent albums was the album that Lil Baby did with Lil Durk. The album was fire. Voice and the Hero. I liked it. Because they can write right. It's just that you got to get used to the way they spitting is a little different. I think it's evolved, but I also think that there's always been garbage. Let's get that out the way. There's always been rappers who wasn't that good, and most of the time they're the ones who went platinum. So that hasn't changed. There's always going to be rappers they ain't that good, or MCs they ain't that good. It's going to be the ones, you know, the elite, the cream of the crop. The one thing that has changed though the industry is money. Everything's money now. Everything's money. You have that radio hit. You have something that the woman can create a dance to, or the young man can create a dance to. Are you marketable? Like even the fashion, a lot of these dudes ain't dressing themselves. I mean, they look outlandish, look crazy. Fur pink suits, you know, the neon green glasses. You know, nobody dresses like that where we're from, but I get it. So I can respect it from that aspect. It has evolved financially. The sad thing about music, though, is that we're not in control of it anymore. I don't know if we ever really were in control, but we're not in control.
I think that a lot of
we don't have control what's playing on the radio or nothing.
Control of it anymore. Well, let's talk
nothing,
about
basically.
Like as far as like where it all started in the acting world for you, because although I mean, like I said, for you to say that like, you know, there was no push for you to go to any kind of performing arts school or anything like that, I feel like you have had your hand in so many parts of the industry, from writing lyrics to music to doing beats to acting to writing to producing to be having all of those capabilities, right? Like where, at what point did that transition happen for you, and what was it like getting on stage as an actor or getting in front of the camera as an actor for the very first time?
So I look at acting as an extension of communication. I've always been a communicator because I've always wrote lyrics and I spit them or performed music. So I've always had a form of communication in me, a gift for communication. I decided to do acting. I had just finished doing music. I was trying to get a record deal for years doing rap music. Excuse me. Have a really bad cold, I'm battling. But for years I was doing music. I came on some compilation albums with Eminem, KRS-One, Razzcast, Smith & Wesson. So I did all right. I just never signed a major deal. It just didn't land in place. Honestly, I was hard-headed. I got offered a really good deal but they wanted me to do a couple commercial songs, and I told them kick rocks. I wish I could go back in time and speak to myself and say, nah, don't do that, do it, but I didn't. So I was at a point in my life I stopped doing music, and I fell into deep depression because I was doing music for over 20 years. So now all of a sudden I'm not doing music. I'm upset, I'm angry. I'm taking it out on everybody, on the kids, on the lady. I'm just a miserable person. And one day I remember basically, this is gonna sound crazy. I got online and I started looking for acting classes. I don't know why. I just started looking for acting classes. Found a couple classes. I found this one school in Connecticut where I'm at. And I called my boy in Florida and I said, yo, I want to talk to you about something. He said, yeah, but before that, how's the music? I said, I don't know if I'm doing anymore, whatever. Next thing you know, I said, yo, I'm thinking about taking acting classes. His response was, oh man, that's perfect for you. Like, you're an actor, peace, and hung up on me. And I was like, huh? So I kind of knew I felt like God was guiding me that way. And after that, I found a little school out here with a beautiful, amazing teacher called C. Peterson. She taught me a strong foundation in the Meisner technique. And that's something I look at more deeper than music, because a lot of people out here calling themselves actors, they can't tell you the difference between Stanislavski and Meisner or Uta Hagen. And
a lot of people just want to be stars, man.
Strasberg.
Yeah.
They just want to be stars. They don't study technique or the theory of the technique. So I found that little school, learned the right way off the get-go. I learned the Meisner technique, bought Meisner's book on acting, got into that, and never looked back.
So Second District, how did that come about?
So Second District came about, this kid I know, that he's a director. He actually graduated from the NYU Master's Program for Film called Rashad Fred. A friend of mine, we did a film together. And he came up to me when he called me out the blue and says, hey, I need your help on something. I want to know if you want to be a part of a project. I said, well, let's meet up. I meet him at some diner. I forgot where I met him at. Drinking some coffee. He hands me this script for a Second District. And he's sitting down with this other gentleman. The gentleman ended up being a cop. So the cop co-wrote the story with a felon that he arrested, that he built a relationship with. So I read it, and it was really outdated. It's just like the terminology was like, yeah, that's fresh word, bro. I was like,
That's a throwback.
And I was like, what is it you want me to do with this? He said, well, yeah. I was like, what you want me to? He said, well, we want you to be the lead actor. I was like, okay. I said, let me be honest with you. I can't bring this script to life. I'm going to have to pen it. I'm going to have to rewrite this because it's just not where it needs to be at. I rewrote the script in a week with the guy, got it done. And that's how it came about.
There were a couple of I don't know if it came before or after Second District, but I thought Fixated was really brilliant, which is another short project that you worked on.
Thank you. I believe Fixated was before Second District, and I was blessed enough to win a Best Actor award for that film. And what's crazy about it is that film went up against films from the University
tell us a little
of
bit
Texas
about what
Austin,
Fixated is about.
NYU.
Because I think it's interesting enough to talk about.
So one of the things with my writing, because I obviously made the transition from writing songs, lyrics to writing scripts. My man Caleb Vincent helped me with that. Taught me was an action, this, that, and he taught me like in a day, spent some time with me. From there, I never looked back. The transition was kind of easy for me because I always wrote with revision. I always wrote stories. So with Fixated, I wrote a script, but I wrote the script with no dialogue or action. And this kid I know, that I used to know, named Josh Therio, very talented himself, but said, yo, what you got, man? We should shoot a film. And I was like, I got a couple scripts written. He said, let me see them. I sent him a couple. He said, what's this? There's no like dialogue or nothing. I said, nah, it's all action driven. He said, what's the concept? I said, the concept is about a man who can't stop eating. He's obsessed with eating.
Yeah.
Like that's his addiction. He was like, what? He was like, this is crazy. Let's do it. I was like, all right, cool. So we shot it. We shot it in the old apartment I lived in. and it ended up being kind of a darker film than I thought, because, it might sound comedic, somebody who can't stop eating, but the reality is a lot of people battle that. That is a serious battle. One that I personally can relate to, because I still have them issues here and there. And we shot the film, and he just put it in a couple festivals. He didn't really run it by me, say, I'm going to see what I could do with it, whatever. And here's the ironic thing. Let me tell you how funny this is. I didn't end up going to the film festival because I was working. I was working in the movie theater, and I didn't want to take the day off and get fired. So here I am ripping people's tickets while they're awarding me with the best actor award. How crazy is that? Okay. So I get off the job. I see I got a message. I call. He's like, yo, you just won best actor. It's crazy. I was like, what? What you mean? He was like, yeah. School, film from NYU, Vanderbilt University, Emerson, all these big time colleges. So yeah, that was a beautiful thing. So that kind of gave me the confidence to know, you know what? I do got a voice in this. I can move forward as well.
Right. So I want to move on a little bit ahead, because I know, like you said, I know you've taken classes and all that stuff, but the first big project that we worked on together was a film you did called Caper. And Caper was a script that that Felix had given to me. And when I read it, I thought it was great. He asked me to come on as a casting director because I had worked in casting with people like Sharon Perelman and Tuffy Questel and all of these cats. So I've worked with Paul Michael at the network for a long time, and I had a pool of actors that I knew and I could pull from. And I knew the process of what it is to put together a cast and present it to producers. So we got together, we got the cast done, and we shot Caper. And the promo tonight that you saw with him, there's a clip of Caper toward the end of that. So I just thought that for me, that was a great moment because I actually got the chance to witness your producing skills in action, from taking a project from start to finish, and even when we were casting it, we may not have saw eye to eye or we agreed all the time, but I think that the intention for both of us was what was going to be the best thing for that particular project. What was it like for you wearing the producer's hat?
I liked it. It's a lot of work, though. First, before I get to that, let me say this. A lot of people are talented. There's a lot of talented people in this world. But one of the problems that our people, I feel, face on a consistent basis is not using their resources. I wasn't about to cast it. I said, I know somebody who does casting, who's dope. Well, I'm going to get at him. I got a little budget. Yo, this is what it is. Because, sometimes we do that. We're trying to do everything. We want to direct. We want to produce. We want to be the lead actor. We want to be the writer. We want to be the dancer. We want to do everything. We want to do the lighting. I mean, no. So that helped me a lot, putting together a strong team. I think that putting together the team is everything. I love producing because I'm a people person. I like communicating with people. So honestly, I like producing more than acting because it's second nature to me. That's what I do. I love people. I love talking to people. And a producer has to be the type of person that can figure out problems on the fly. Because a film, everybody knows, is not going to go the way you envision it. Something is going to go wrong. The actors is going to be late. An actor's told might hurt and needs an extra 5 minutes to stretch. There's always some crazy stuff going on. The food, this one, the vegetarian, the food came with beef on top. There's always something crazy when you're dealing with film. So, but I like crazy. I'm a retail person. My whole life I worked retail. I like crazy. I excel in crazy. So producing something I have a passion for.
And you always handle it well, because I will also go on record by saying that people loved this man when we were working on that project together. So, if you get a chance, check out the end of the clip, just give you a little glimpse of the promo, and it'll give you a little glimpse of exactly what that project kind of looked and felt like. Now, you are a man of faith. And I felt like, when you came to me and said, I think that I'm going to start doing public speaking, I was like, well, that just makes perfect sense because you do it anyway. you do it when you don't think you're not doing it, right? And you have so much to say because you've been given a life to have something to say. It's okay, brother. If you need to get some water, let me know.
No, I got my tea. I got my tea. That's why I'm drinking my,
Okay,
and it's stress
you got
so
the
relax.
spearmint or
I'm good.
chamomile
I'm good.
spearmint in there?
I got the kava tea. Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm good.
so
I'm
like,
good.
you know, I felt like you were doing it anyway. So and I think that you were presented with a life that you lived prior to that kind of set the stage for you to have the opportunity to kind of speak truth to people, you know, and to have the power to heal and to connect with people in a way, because I truly believe that even in entertainment or in any kind of creative in any kind of creative art form, that in order to make the greatest impact, you would have had to have lived life to actually have that ability. So my question to you is like, public speaking, why is it so important to you? Why is it so necessary?
Well, it's definitely important because I feel that why would I go through hell and not bring someone heaven? Right? Why would I go through the things I go through? I can sit here and mope about it and say, man, but why did this happen and that happen? You know, I was on drugs at 13. I was sniffing cocaine already on New York. I was selling drugs at 13. A lot of people ain't know, but that's what I was doing. It was around me. But I always looked at it as, why keep that to me? I'm a people person, like I said many times. I'm an open book. So why not use what I've gone through to pull somebody out? Because you see, pain births purpose. Pain, that's all pain does. Pain births purpose. And we all are related through pain. There's not a human being in this world who will not experience pain sooner or later. I've just come to the term with the reality years ago that I'm going to speak about it. I'm going to speak about it. And hopefully that changes someone. At first, when I started doing it, wasn't so spiritual, although I've been saved for quite a while. I didn't grow up in the church or nothing like that. But it became more of a spiritual thing because especially now with the world we live in, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. But I don't come at people with a judgmental mindset. I'm more about, let me plant a seed of love in you and let God do the changing. I don't need to point out to the drug addict, you're a drug addict. He knows that already. I don't need to point out to the woman who's promiscuous that she's promiscuous. She knows that already. What I need to do is love on her, ask her, you know, I'm here for you. If you need prayer, let me know. And there's a lot of people I have like that will call me just, hey, I need you to pray for me. Hey, I got an issue. Pray for me. It's hard. It's hard because, you know, it's weight when you're taking on people's weight. But I got also a praying wife and we're a house of faith. So I actually love doing it. I love ministering to people and I love helping. So that's really what it's all about. We all, regardless of the gift you have, whether you're an athlete, whether you're the president of the United States, whatever it is, we all should be having some type of passion to help people. We just do it in different ways.
So let me ask you a question before we go into the 5 questions that I usually ask all my guests. Just to piggyback off of what you were saying, do you truly believe that out of all of the creative gifts that God has given you, that there is a mandate for service through those gifts?
Absolutely. But I think that my service is not inside 4 walls. Because there's a lot of people who will never walk into a church. Now, I'm not making an excuse of running from the fact that if God called me to preach or be a pastor, I do it. That's what God wants. Because, you know, God has a way of making you do what he wants you to do. He say he won't force you, but he kind of does in a way. You know, he have your arm in an uncomfortable position to where you're like, I'm going to do it, Lord. It's definitely right now it's service. Everything's ministry to me. Every opportunity that I get to talk on God is to talk about my testimony or to talk about my gifts. That's all platform to help people. So that's how I look at it. So it definitely is a form of service. Now, on a different scale of going around doing it, I believe that's how I'm going to end up eventually, just traveling, speaking in different places in the world. That's
so let me ask you my First of 5 questions, right? What do you know about the industry now opposed to what you thought it was before you got into it?
I know that you have to exercise self-control. I used to wear my emotions on my sleeves and take everything personal. But this industry is all about connections. It's all about relationships. So I've learned to bite my tongue, to vent to my wife, and never to make a decision in an emotional state. So definitely self-control, because people don't understand. All you got to do is burn one bridge, and that one bridge burns a million. Because everybody knows everybody, some way, somehow the dots connect. So that's the thing that I would say I've learned, the self-control aspect, to be able to relax. It's not that serious. Maybe they did it not knowingly, maybe this, whatever the reason. I pray, I try to relax, and I exercise self-control and patience.
What advice would you give your 19-year-old self?
Dude, you got to relax. You got to relax. Everybody ain't against you. Because, you know, when you feel betrayed by your own mother, I was molested when I was young. I shared it with my mother. She basically told me to keep your mouth shut. You're going to start a family crisis. That right there made me look at women differently, because here goes the woman that I had on a pedestal, leaving me for dead. That's how I felt. Like, wow, you're my mother. Like, so I had to deal with that by myself. I was 6 years old when that happened to me. That kind of made me angry. I always had a lot of anger. So that's why my battle's always been self-control, not reacting, keeping, you know how it is. Somebody say something slick, and you sometimes you just gotta
practice the pause, take a breath.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And look at the bigger picture. I get it.
Absolutely.
So what do you want your legacy to be? What would you like your legacy to be?
I would say I want my legacy to be a man who helped a lot of people and didn't tell anybody about it. I don't believe in letting my left hand know what my right hand is doing. I never want to be that type of person that, hey, yeah, I looked out for homeboy, or I put her on. Or yeah, he was down and out, and I looked out, gave him some money. I don't want to be that dude. I want to be that person that put kids in college, paid the bill, bought houses for people, paid the rent, stacked shorty with some groceries, whatever I can do to help, and nobody know but me and that person. So that when I'm laying there, laced up, they can say, yo, that dude did a lot of good without speaking about it. Because I think that's a problem, right? People do something good and want to put it on eyewitness news.
I want to speak about it. I want to speak about it. One thing that I try to use my platform is to just say thank you to people who have done great things for me. And there have been times in my life where I felt like, maybe I have made a bad decision or made a bad choice. And I feel like you have been always one of those people that has been there and kind of always willing to assist and lend a hand anytime that I needed it without even asking you for it. And for that, I say thank you, which is why I feel like, because of your heart and your intention, that blessings will come your way because of who you are and how you move. And a lot of people don't.
I received that.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people want to do things for you and get recognition, or they're telling other people what they've done, or they see you at a very low moment, and that becomes, chatter for, gossip. But that's never been who you were, or that's not who you are. And I just want to say thank you for that, because you have showed up for me in my life plenty of times when you didn't have to. And I just want to know that I am extremely grateful for that.
Thank you. And likewise to you too. You already know you hold me down too. So that's what we do, man. One hand washes the other, as I was saying. Basic things that people overlook. Holding my granddaughter, seeing my children in the house with me, laying next to my wife at night and just talking with her, just being healthy, being alive. Like I find joy in those things. I don't really find, not to say I don't like looking good and buying dope gear and getting laced up and all that, but I don't ever see myself finding joy because I got a Maybach or something like that.
Right.
Like I find joy in like knowing that all my children are healthy, alive, and my grandbaby's healthy. One of my highest joys is when my granddaughter says, Papa. She called me Papa. And I mean, just something about that, something about a grandchild is different than love. So those type of things, that really brings me joy. And also, when I'm able, it's rare, but when I'm able to help somebody and I see that they applied what I gave them and it's actually working for them, that brings me joy too. It's like, okay, good. All right. She did it. She went out there and she moved. She's doing good out there. Good.
What are you
so those type of
grateful
things
for?
As well. I'm grateful for the spirit of perseverance God gave me. I'm grateful for a lot of things. Obviously, the health and all those type of things, family, but I'm really grateful for perseverance because this industry of entertainment will break you if you don't have perseverance. And even my wife has told me many times, I don't know how you do it. Somebody do something shiesty and you just dust it off.
Man,
start off something
shystiness
new
in
and you
this, that's
just
just
keep
Tuesday.
going.
Shysty in this business.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say perseverance. I know that that's from God because I just don't have to quit in me. I just know that this is part of my purpose and I got to keep moving forward regardless of the trials and tribulations, the backstabbing, the disappointments. So I'm really grateful for that spirit of perseverance because sometimes I'll be honest, I don't want to do anything. I wake up and I'm just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with everything. And then, I hear that still small voice in my ear like, oh, stop. You ain't done. Say go shower up and get over it. So that perseverance is something I'm really grateful for because everybody don't got it. Everybody don't got it. A lot of people right now are messed up because they gave up on their
Speaking of
dreams.
perseverance,
I'm grateful for that.
I can't let this conversation end tonight without acknowledging the spirit of our brother Siddiqui, who is no longer with us, who have transitioned to the next realm of consciousness. And Siddiqui was a young man that blessed so many people, and he passed away untimely from sickle cell anemia. And he passed away doing exactly what he loved, pushing through a performance, his first off-Broadway Union House performance. And he was such a gentle spirit, kind spirit, someone who did not have an inflated ego. And, I think he touched everybody, but you and him especially had a very special relationship. And I just wanted to acknowledge him.
What's crazy about Siddiqui? I never knew this. I remember, we always talked at least maybe, I want to say once every other week, because he was always busy. I'm always caught up. But I remember one of the last conversations we had, he called me. He said, yo, big brother, what's good? I said, yo, what's good? He said, listen, I need you to pray for me. I said, what's going on? He said, I'm going before the judge and they can deport me today. I said, deport you? What you talking about? He said, yeah, I'm not a legal citizen out here. So I'm hoping that they extend my stay a couple of years, then I don't have to go back for another couple of years before him. So we prayed and he hit me up later that day, yo, I'm good for another 2 years. And I was like, thank you, God, and all that good stuff. But his was different. He was Muslim, and I never knew that until he passed away. So how beautiful is God that here goes a man who served Jesus Christ, a Christian brother. And my man, one of my best friends is Muslim, and I never knew that. And he would call me for prayer. And I said, man, God, if the world can be that way. And I get so caught up in all that and just say, yo, let's pray. So that was something special to me. So that's the type of relationship we had. I would give that big brother feel, and he inspired me. To this day, he inspires me. There's a lot of times I feel like giving up, and I kid you not, I can see like his face looking at me like you sound crazy. And let me tell you how I met him. It's crazy. I don't know if you know this. I met Siddiqui on set for Rick Cordero video.
Yes.
Rick. Yeah,
Shout
Rick
out
Cordero.
to Rick Cordero, man.
I did the video for
big shout out. I haven't seen Rick in years,
Rick Cordero,
but he
man. Let
had
me tell
did
you
he
what's
had did a
crazy.
film with Ephraim Benton, right? Okay, go.
I'm getting to
Go.
that. Listen to this, because this is crazy. Excuse me, this is crazy. I see online on Facebook, Ephraim,
Yeah,
this one, Facebook was more popular. Ephraim posts, I'm looking for an actor. Can you make it to New York? I think it was the next day, whatever. Quick, I jumped on it. Yo, what's good? Boom, 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 boom. He chills. I'm waiting. I'm going crazy. Like, I want to get this. I don't even know what it is. I'm going to be honest with you. I just know that it's Ephraim Freddie
right.
Benton because, he did some big things. He hits me back. He says, yo, you got it. I'm going to give you the opportunity. I said, word? Dope. I get down there. I see Freeway down there because it was a video for Freeway, and the song was You Know What I Mean. So, and I get down there. I see Rick Cordero. At the time, I was starting to learn about him because he had a lot of videos out at the same time. Like he was popping. I was like, oh, man, I said, Rick, I said, this is crazy. So we somewhere deep in Manhattan somewhere, and I met Siddiqui that day. Siddiqui was like one of the main actors in there that day too. We exchanged contact information, and he became my brother. So that's how I met Siddiqui on set.
I feel so blessed, man. Like even just talking about and being able to go back and think about that time in space, man. I feel so blessed to have been a part of it, you know, because the industry has changed since then.
Yes, and the loss is hard. It's changed, and you're not gonna meet in life. You're blessed if you have one good friend. I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of good friends, and when I say a couple of good friends, for me, a friend is not a friend; it's family. And a friend for me is, can I go to you if I'm messed up? Can you hold me down? If I'm homeless, will you throw me on your couch? That's a friend for me. Forget about this support stuff, and then when I'm not doing good, you know where to be found. That's a friend for me, family. And Siddiqui was one of those. He was family. So losing him was a big loss, especially the friendship aspect and the entertainment aspect of him being an actor, because there's not a lot of actors that I build with that way about the industry. He just did a play. Denzel Washington was there. He told me Denzel hugged him and told him he got him on the film coming. I was like, Denzel, what? Like he was on his way. He was on his way. So to lose him tragically like that, and it was only you two, you and him. So now it's just you. So it's crazy. That was a major loss for all of us.
Such incredible talent to be so young.
Beautiful
person,
I mean?
And he had he battled with sickle cell anemia, and a lot of people aren't expected to live a long time with sickle cell, but the fact that he was here doing what he loved, and I think when there are people that come in the industry like that, where their meekness and their humility and their is so much bigger. Like you see the talent, you see it's good.
He had everything. He had everything he needed to be. And you know what's crazy? When he passed, I tell you, sometimes I can't even think on it. I get emotional. He called me the day before he fell into a coma, because he was supposed to come up to Connecticut to work on a film. We were doing a short film with one of my mans, Tunde, who he's another dude, graduated with honors in film and all that. He was directing and producing a film about the life of a boxer addicted to drugs. And Siddiqui was playing the boxer and I was playing the trainer, his trainer / father mentor. All right?
Yeah.
So I told my wife, like,
I remember
Siddiqui out, man. He throwing a bomb on me,
I remember that because we spoke.
He calls. Yeah. So I was like, man, this is crazy. I got this cat waiting up here because we already had met him in Harlem to talk about it. He agreed to do it. And then he called me and says, yo, big brother, man, I'm sorry, man. Like, I got to get a little better. He didn't even tell me. This is what's crazy. He didn't tell me how serious his sickness was. He just said, yo, I'm not feeling too good. I got to rest up, but I'm going to see you soon. I was like, all right, cool. Next thing you know, I'm doing some photos for one of my other boys, and I get a text, Siddiqui's dead. And I'm like, Siddiqui's dead? I'm like, what? So I text back like, who is they? Like, oh, that's my brother. I'm like, wait, you Sadiqi's brother? I'm like, what you mean? He said, well, he's in a coma, so basically they're about to put a plug. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, wait. I said, wait. Yeah. I said, I got to get up there before all that. Wait. Thank God. The hospital, first of all, when I got there, was packed with people. But God blessed me with so much favor. Could you believe his mother remembered that I would be on the phone with him praying and things of that nature? So when I got down there, somebody went up to the mother, told him who I was. The mother said, come. She escorted me directly to the room. But he was like, nobody else can go there.
I don't think, you know what, I don't think
that's how I knew God's grace was on me. Yeah. Oh, brought me right there. I saw him. I broke down crying, laid my hands on him, prayed for him. And, you know, the next day he had passed away. And what's crazy is I cried more for him than I think I did for my own father, or at least close to it, neck and neck. Like, it really messed me up. It messed me up losing him like that. So, yeah. So now everything I do, I have part of him in mind, especially when it comes to acting. Like, I'm going to do this. It's going to come eventually. So right now, I'll make this announcement tonight. Right now, I'm working on some unforeseen circumstances took place recently. I was about to do a podcast with a dope company, but things just didn't fall in place the way they should have. And much love to them because they're phenomenal people and they're dope. And right now, I was regrouping, taking a little time to regroup. But as of right now, I'm putting some things in place to do things myself. So definitely there is some type of speaking situation in my very near future. Also, we're working on some stuff, taking our time with it, but that I can't wait to shoot that. You know, that's when it comes to film, that's the main thing I'm focused on with that. And then also aside from that, my wife's event. She does a woman empowerment conference every year.
And what's your production
and that's
company?
Taxing. Like, it's people don't understand.
Lionz and Lambz. Where can we find you?
And it's spelled with a Z. The website www.lionsandlambz.net or thelionesconference.com. That's with a Z. The Lions and the Lambs is spelled with a Z instead of an S at the end.
www.lionsandlambz with a Z.com. .net.
Net.
Okay.
.net. And then the lionessconference.com, which is her event. If any woman interested in that, look into it. It's a dope event. It's inspirational. It's powerful.
Thank you, brother, for joining me tonight.
Thank you, man. I'm finally happy I was able to do it. I was like, I know I'm sick. I got to do it because Phil won't stop talking to me. I said, oh, my God. I got. He ain't going to pick up no more. He going to be like, I ain't picking up for homeboy. I got to do it. So, I'm grateful that you had me on, man.
Invitation to come in. I know we have been talking about doing this for a very long time. So I'm happy we had an opportunity to get together tonight and actually make that happen. And I love you, brother. Truly. And I thank you.
Love you more,
I look
man.
forward to
no
everything
doubt
that God is going to give to you and doors that are going to be opening for you in the coming years and months and weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. Till next time, everybody. Stay in love, stay in light,
God
but more
bless,
importantly,
man.
stay in peace. Have a blessed one.